When I came into a better understanding of my language, Wolastoqiyik, I started to understand my place in the world a little bit better and started to relate to the world around me differently. And so that's why it was important for me to do this album in my language, because there's less than 100 fluent speakers left. I think it's important for people to understand a true history and what has actually happened and what continues to happen in this country around the systematic devaluing of indigenous languages and culture. As soon as I came to understand a little more about my mother's journey with the language, she went into the day schools at a very young age, when she was 6 years old, and you weren't allowed to speak your language there. In fact, you were physically punished, you were beaten if you did. You know, coming to understand that it wasn't safe for her to speak her language when she was young. And her mother, my grandmother, said, you know, it's better if you don't know the language, and so we're just not going to speak it to you. Intergenerational effects of that shame around language and culture are clear. So that's why I turned to the archive. When I first got to hear these voices, that for me was a profoundly transformational moment in my life. And it connected me all the way up and down to those who have gone before and those who are yet to come. At first, I would listen over and over again. I would start to sketch where the melody was going. And then finally, after that, I could put some notes to it. I sort of took those notes with me and went home and started to sit at my piano. And to create arrangements and worlds around each of these melodies. And let those melodies guide my process. I was very, very fortunate, you know, to have a music education and to be able to, you know, to transcribe what I was hearing. It was a process of deep listening, of really trying to sit there with these headphones and hear what these voices had to tell me. Getting to witness the life in these recordings, getting to hear my ancestors laugh, tell stories, sing songs, you know, dance. You can hear them dancing. This is incredible to me. You know, this was collected in the early 1900s, and it's been living in the museum ever since. You know, as a young person, I didn't know about this collection and these songs, and so for me, I felt such a responsibility to go and share that with other young people. So when you look at the album cover, you can see wax cylinders on the floor, which were what these were collected on, using the phonograph machine in the middle there. And I'm seated in the chair with this traditional jacket on. I wanted to represent that time that these songs were collected. And so that was sort of where this whole album kind of came from, was that impetus to say, I've witnessed this beautiful thing, these old voices, and it's not doing any good sitting on a shelf collecting dust. This project allowed me to do was like sit down with my mother and my elders in my community and ask them about their lives and say, what was your experience of music growing up? What did your community sound like, you know, growing up? For me, starting, you know, this record, Wolastoqiyik Lintuwakonawa, it's called, with the death chant, Mejalid, was a very clear statement to me that even though a lot of narratives get applied to our languages, especially Wolastoqiyik, you know, because there's so few speakers left, a lot of people say, oh, it's a dying language, you know. I don't believe that to be true. Nothing ever died. You know, our dances and our songs and our language, they just had to go away for a bit, for safekeeping. And our elders tell us that it's time to take it all out, and it all needs to come out. And it won't be until then that we're going to be able to come to understand each other. Tahoe.